One of the Steam Deck's designers is reframing the specs of the upcoming handheld. There's a new way to participate in classic game collecting, and a recent indie game is a big hit with critics and gamers alike. This is your Daily Fix. Steam Deck is Valve's upcoming handheld gaming PC. Previously, a designer working on it told IGN that Valve was targeting 30 frames per second on the hardware. Now he's clarified those comments. The idea of a target of 30 frames per second had caused some potential customers to feel anxious about the hardware's capabilities, assuming that Valve was pushing for games to run simply at 30 frames per second and no higher. However, in a recent Twitter post, Valve coder Pierre Liu reassured everyone that the 30 frames per second target for the handheld console refers to, quote, the floor of what we consider playable in our performance testing. He said, games we've tested and shown have consistently met and exceeded that bar so far. There will also be an optional built-in FPS limiter to fine-tune performance versus battery life. So, most games should be able to push past 30 frames per second on the handheld. The Steam Deck is set to launch in December for those that were able to reserve one already. There's currently a year-long waitlist for the highest-end model. What a pain in the deck. The Nintendo World Championship's 1990 cartridge is viewed as one of the rarest and most valuable NES games ever made. These carts were used in the 1990 touring event that let players compete in popular NES games, and then they were given to the winners. Now you can own a piece of one of the iconic cartridges. A new investment scheme has been launched via Otis that allows people to buy shares of the Nintendo World Championship's gray cartridge for $10. The shares will fluctuate in value just like stock, with shareholders waiting for their prices to increase before potentially trading them in for a profit. Otis is an investment platform that specializes in art and culture items, and it is the first platform to offer this prized Nintendo game valued at $211,300. The cartridge is considered by many to be the holy grail of video game collecting, and a lower grade copy of the game sold for $180,000 earlier this month. Otis is also currently offering investments in a sealed copy of the original Super Mario Bros., an X-Men #1 comic, and a 1984 Optimus Prime Pepsi Edition action figure. The Nintendo World Championship cartridge itself was used in competition and features a remix of Rad Racer, Super Mario Bros., and Tetris. Contestants would play all three games and combine their scores into a single high score. More copies went to the winners of a Nintendo Power magazine contest. Given the limited number of World Championships cartridges that are out in the wild, collectors and game fans alike are often on the lookout for them. It was particularly surprising when one turned up in a box of traded-in NES games at a used game store in Seattle, Washington back in 2019. So, if you don't have a couple $100,000 lying around to pick up your very own copy of a Nintendo World Championship cart, here's another option. Wait till Wall Street Bets finds out about this. Last up today, you may have seen last week that IGN gave the new Zelda-ish dungeon diving game Death's Door a 9 out of 10. And it wasn't just IGN that loved it. Death's Door is one of the best reviewed games of the year across all gaming media. But more importantly for developer Acid Nerve, Death's Door is a hit with players. Over 100,000 adventurers have taken work reaping the souls of the dead in the game's first week in the wild. It is currently available on PC, Xbox One, and Series X, but I should note, Death's Door is not part of Game Pass, so that is over 100,000 paying players. I've been playing it myself and I'm really enjoying it. It's been described as a Zelda game with just the dungeons, no overworld. It's got a very cool art style and doesn't really look like anything else. Congrats to Acid Nerve. I'm Damon Hatfield and that's your Daily Fix for July 26th. Hey, 10 years ago today, Catherine was released on Xbox 360 and PS3. I've never played it, but I know people like it. For all your gaming news, stay tuned IGN.